Yo, what up, street gods? Street bloggity blog blog dug thumb monkey put the bugs. Okay, so some turbo thoughts. This one is on innovating technique, form, approaches, seeking at least 2 to 10x gains. And see you later, Dad. Chúc mừng năm mới. And kind of not accepting or following that which is standard. So for example, what's up, Cat? What's up, Brandon? Looking good. I love the ST, baby. Much better than the Focus. Yeah, so I think the big thing is anything that's standardized is bad. I mean, for example, let us consider standardized testing for kids. I'm like, y'all want to make your kids standard, right? And I think this is why, pro tip, if you want to groom or train or raise a more elite kid, just don't let them do what other basic kids do, right? Like, don't give them the YouTubes. I think any like just have this thought, right? Would a YouTube engineer who programs the algorithm to make it autoplay and click more stuff, right? Would they let their newborn child play with YouTube? Methinks not. Likewise, even Steve Jobs, all the Silicon Valley elites, the peoples at Apple's, they all send their kids to like tech-free schools, right? And even I think Steve Jobs didn't even let his own kids play with an iPad. So he probably knew something that that the rest of us don't know. But anyways, so for me, this is a very important thing to consider because, like for example, weightlifting at the gym, right? Everyone's always like following the same standardized forms of weightlifting, right? Like bench press, you know, standard deadlift, conventional deadlift off the floor, or even sumo, or squats, you know, whatever. And then people also fall into these silly memes like, you know, getting the straps, go get the belt, go get the wrist straps. And the big reason people do this is they want to look more legitimate, right? Yeah, you know, I only shoot raw, or I only shoot fully manual, blah blahs, right? But I think the real practitioners seek the most sublime, simple and sinister Pavel approach. So for example, with photography, Ricoh GR3X, extra small JPEG, high contrast black and white in camera, and it's expedited my workflow by at least 1 trillion fold. Good strategies. And also, when it comes to weightlifting, right? Like, why is everyone doing the same things? I think so for example, I just did an 8-plate Atlas lift squat hold, the Urkim Innovation, and yeah, a lot of fun. And it's funny because it's probably at least like close to 2 times more than anyone could technically squat. So let's say the average strong guy at the gym could squat 4 plates or 5 plates, 5 plates and a 25. I haven't really seen anyone do more than that. So I guess I'm chasing the 1,000 pounds. It's so funny too, because like if you get the squatting motion out of the equation, let's say you just get on their bar and just lift it up, holding your shoulders and put it down. A, you could just lift a lot more weight. B, your muscular development in your thighs will be out of control. Like, I don't know anybody at the gym or in real life that I've seen with more epic thighs than me. Even the guys at the gym who look like they're on steroids or something, even they can't touch my thighs and my legs, right? And so let's say I see myself as a bodybuilder, right? Then doing an Atlas lift makes sense because it's phenomenal for leg development, right? And also my calves too. My calves are actually insanely buff. And also my shoulders, my back, you know, whatever. And also I'm probably one of the most flexible guys in the gym, because, you know, I do, you know, Cindy taught me yoga, I practice it every single day at the gym. And so it's so funny because you never see weightlifters do any sort of yoga style things. And likewise, I mean, it's changing now with core power, but you don't really see yogis lift weights. But you know, the good thing that's changing. And so for me, one of the things that I'm personally interested in is innovating new techniques and approaches that could give you at least 2x to 5x to 10x gains, right? So for example, even shooting extra small JPEG, it expedites your workflow like a trillionfold, because importing times are still super slow, download speeds are still super slow. Like 5G in America still, it's like, I call it fake 5G. It's like, it says 5G, it's a 5G little E. It's like a dumbed down 4G LTE whatever's, right? And so even when you're uploading to your own website, your own blog, there's you're still kind of kept up by speeds. Even if you have gigabit internet or fiber, the transfer speeds and the processing speeds are still way too slow. So I think even in today's world, there's still a good case to be made about using extra small JPEG, 1080p, 720p, etc., and being able to innovate with your technique. So even something I found that everyone's trying to bench big, right? They want the 3-plate bench, 4-plate bench, 5-plate bench, whatever. Just do it off the ground and then just bench it off the power rack. And to me, I consider it a very smart strategy, because you're just able to bench a lot more. And yeah, and I think if guys really care about their ego and their self-esteem, certainly it seems like everyone wants to just put up higher numbers, right? So if in fact that is the case, then change your technique and form your approach that you can lift heavier weights makes sense. Now people will say, that's cheating. Cheating for what? Like, and this is where competition's bad, and you know, like, I don't think I ever really want to get sent into organized sports, because it sends the wrong message that there's winners, losers, cheaters, people play by the game. Then, you know, and also apparently a lot of even high school kids are taking steroids and stuff like that. So, you know, like, let's say I put a little Seneca into football and was high school, you know, imagine a kid who's like high on roids, right? Like, you know, hit Sen and, you know, Sen breaks a femur or something, right? So that's pretty silly. And so yeah, I would say, and that's the only argument. Like, the only reason people would bench press or you know, squat to the floor or deadlift, the primary reason is that people want to compete. It's like, why do you want to compete? I think generally the mentality behind competing is that, oh, you know, I want to compete against myself. You know, in a competition, it's a good environment, I can lift higher numbers. But once again, I think it's actually kind of a toxic environment, because you see all these other dudes who are lifting way heavier than you, and you're like, oh, what's wrong? Because everyone else, even powerlifters, are on steroids or some sort of juice or whatever. And so it's kind of bad, because you're evaluating your own self-esteem, your own self-worth, and your own strength, blah blahs, in comparison to other people. And this is also why bodybuilding is such a scam, because, you know, you see all these dudes in the magazine, YouTubies, they're all on steroids or some other fake steroid enhancing something, right? They're on some like PewDiePie says, dipping into the gummy bears, like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, right? And it's funny too, because like going to the gym is great for me. I like making new friends and it. But technically my ideal gym would just have no people. It would just be me, just be my Zen temple. Like even when I was in Phnom Penh, there's a gym called Monkey Fit. Really loved it, and it's pretty much empty most of the time. And it was a good experience, because I wasn't there weightlifting to impress anybody. It was just, I would only do the lifts that I was personally interested in. So for example, some things which were zero interested to me was, you know, anything to do with the dumbbells, dumbbell press, overhead presses, whatever. I was more interested in doing like the trap bar deadlift, you know, squat press, you know, the Atlas hold. That's actually where I discovered it. Floor bench press, etc. Chin-ups and stuff like that. And so yeah, I think, and this is where Elon Musk and Tesla is so genius too, is that like, rather than taking the old standard model of, you know, gasoline cars and dealerships, whatever, to totally think carte blanche and start the approach totally fresh is insanely good, because it acts as the Occam's razor in which you strip away all the superfluous and you think about what is truly critical. So like, rather than like, oh, you know, this is how cars have been designed in the past and sold, how can we improve on that? Better than thinking about improving on it, just wipe the whole slate clean and then be intelligent and try to innovate in such a way that makes sense to you. So once again, with weightlifting, for me, the purpose of weightlifting isn't necessarily to get buffer and to build up your physique. That's just kind of an after product. For me, it's a personal curiosity. Like the reason I innovated the Atlas lift, right? I was just curious, I'm like, what is the maximum amount of weight I could just lift up and hold on my shoulders? It was just a personal curiosity, and I actually haven't really hit a limit yet. Like to the 8 plates, it still felt pretty heavy, but I'm sure within a week or two, I could add definitely 2.5 pounds to each side of the barbell. And you know, if assuming that I stay consistent with my training, I'm sure in the next 5-6 years, they definitely hit 9 plates, 10 plates, 11 plates, 12 plates. Pretty sure I could do 1,000 pounds. It doesn't seem too hard, right? Like you have dudes, like I see random dudes on YouTube, right? Kind of like look like my build, like deadlifting 800 pounds, just mixed grip and chalk. So I'm like, I could do that. You could definitely. And then certainly deadlifting is harder than just holding something on your shoulders, right? Maybe I should get into strongman competitions. I'll be the first strongman competitor who actually looks like a bodybuilder. And that's my general critique of everybody, right? Like the bodybuilders have, you know, many of them have impressive physiques, but their lower body is very lacking, so it makes them look a little bit more comical. The powerlifters tend to either, it's funny, be really, really skinny, but really insanely strong, which I find very fascinating, impressive. And or they just tend to be really like kind of fat and muscular. You know, people's like, yeah, you look so lean. It's like, lean just means having a low body fat percentage. And then you cheat days. I'm like, intermittent fasting, no breakfast, no lunch, just one big dinner a day, 100% carnivore diet. Like, yeah, but you have cheat days. But I'm like, so you want to look like a demigod? You ain't finna cheat. You know, no. And I'm like, people still drink, like whenever I see any of my friends or friends of friends or acquaintances drinking like a Coke or a Coke Zero, I'm like, boom, they's out there lacking in the critical nutrition department. Is like, yeah, but it has 0 calories. I'm like, you do not understand how hormones work. Is that you taste something sweet, even among fruit, yes, stevia, all those fake nonsensory stuff, your body gonna conceive and think about it as being sweet, and it's going to inject the fat producing hormones in your body, the insulin, stuff like that. Someone should do a study, like give somebody a Coke Zero, then measure the insulin levels before or after. I could definitely guarantee you it's gonna spike up. Yeah, but 0 calories, just do a Stairmaster for an hour, you burn up. Like, that's like the calories is the biggest scam ever. Like, let's consider, right? Let's say you're a weightlifter. Let's say you eat 2,000 calories of beef liver and you work out every day, or you eat, you know, 2,000 calories of white rice a day. You know, who's gonna get buffer, right? Or even a better one, let us say, you know, and also counting grams of protein is totally silly too, because not all protein is made the same. Let's say you have a bodybuilder eating 500 grams of, you know, beef ribs versus a bodybuilder eating 500 grams of like legume beans. Who's gonna get more swole in a week? I can guarantee it's the guy eating meat, because meat is a natural steroid. Cholesterol ain't finna give you a heart attack. I think it's just part of this anti-meat conspiracy that, you know, a lot of people are trying to make a lot of money from selling these fake meat substitutes, and yeah, it's very disingenuous. But anyways, So I would say, yeah, with anything in life, just try to take a critical approach to things, to take things back to basics, carte blanche, think more philosophically, first principles.